Because the month of May is Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, we thought it'd be a good idea to come together as a community in a way we haven't before and celebrate our Asian American tradition.
It's been celebrated in the past here at Northwestern with like a couple events and things like that, but it's not really that big of a deal. And it's kind of crazy thinking about how Asian Americans here at Northwestern, we make a pretty significant portion of the student population. So it's kind of weird thinking about how a month that's supposed to be celebrating all of us is something like 23 or 25% of the student population here at Northwestern. It's something that comes and goes so quietly every year.
We really want to kind of showcase to the Northwestern community sort of the range of what really is Asian American, because the term itself is very political. And that's really the reason for this Asian Identity Project, to really bring together the entire community. Because a lot of times students will say, well, yeah, you know what, I'm part of the Hong Kong Student Association. That's my first identity, Whereas we want to say, no, your first identity is an Asian American student on campus.
There's going to be a lot of cross-pollination, collaboration, and that's really the essence of the project.
It really helps people to realize that the issues that they're facing or that they're thinking about aren't necessarily relevant just to them. That it might not be the exact same issue, but different versions of that issue are relevant to different communities.
It's pretty crazy how there's so many different student groups that really agree that collaboration would be such a great idea and that it'd be a great way for for students to reach out and meet bigger networks of people and everything. But at the same time, it's still something really difficult to do.
We've tried harder this year to work with other groups more. I know that there is a divide with Asians and non-Asians on campus, but also there is a divide between ethnicities, even within the Asians. And so this year we have a lot of events where we just collaborate with CSA and TASC or other groups just to get to know each other.
We accept anyone who has an interest in Taiwan. You don't have to be Taiwanese. So we do have people of many different races. We're trying to get our group members to recognize that there are other groups on campus and go to their events to learn more about their culture.
It's kind of competitive because you're competing for resources and for financial support when it comes to doing events, but it's nice to be a separate community but within the scope of things.
When Asian groups collaborate with each other, I feel like it happens more often because let's say we wanted to collaborate with Alianza or something, I guess it would be a little more difficult. I mean, we would have other ways of doing it, but I feel just within the Asian groups themselves, they collaborate a lot more.
A lot of the generalities, right, really pertain to certain organizations all over the place. Right? They're not necessarily Asian American specific. The Asian American student groups kind of cycle, or in some ways oscillate back and forth between being more concerned about social issues and more concerned about political issues.
Right now, we are facing a membership crisis soon as 5 seniors will be graduating this year. So we are thinking about opening up to other students, non-Asians.
We started last year and it was just a few of us, 7 of us are on the exec board, and we just wanted to branch out a little bit. It's different. It's not like the ISA, which is the international students, and it's not like the SASA. It's more just Pakistani students, but we're looking to bring in more people.
Main event for the year is a collaborative effort with other Southeast Asian groups. We have a fashion show this year and cultural performances from each group. We do this every year. I'm not sure since when this started, but it's the only public event that Tea Party is involved in because we are low in numbers.
At least in my experience over the years, we've definitely increased collaboration. I mean, we do have some, for example, our biggest event, Celebrasia, is in collaboration with TASC, the Taiwanese Student Association, and basically we're one big group when it comes to that event. There's no really differentiation.
For CSA and TASC, it was really my entire group of friends Like we became friends first, and then we were sorted into CSA and TASC. And then the fact that we were friends first really kind of brought together CSA and TASC. Because before, there was never that collaboration. Before, CSA and TASC were completely at odds with each other. The presidents hated each other, like they were completely bickering all the time. But now CSA and TASC like consistently work together. So I think a lot of it stems from simply just personal friendships. I think that a lot of it has to do with the climate of Northwestern in general. So sort of the way that freshmen come onto campus, become integrated, and sort of like find their friends.
A student organization, the impact of a personal friendship is much greater simply because it's smaller and because there's no overall culture of, oh, this is a professional relationship, and so even though if we hate each other's guts now, we have to be professional about it for the sake of the organization's goals. Right? You don't have that external pressure. An Asian undergraduate population that is not Asian American has grown significantly in the past dozen or so years. Not just at Northwestern, but at other schools like Northwestern. Some schools even more so than Northwestern.
The Asian American community, so to speak, is very heterogeneous. So we have a lot to draw from, and in Northwestern, it's a small school, there's a lot of overlap too. And so we're trying to really unite the campus around these issues, and I think it's really a really great climate because we have had these wonderful discussions with President Shapiro and other administrators who've openly expressed concern about the relations of racial minorities on campus.
And what we really want to see happen in the future is that there's a continued focus on making May like a big month of celebration and not just something that will come and go quietly again. We really want to see that people remember this, that people remember like, oh my goodness, there was like 500 like Asian kids like just walking around all over campus for this event, and it's just like we really hope that people see that, people remember it, and then that people can keep that going in the future also.